can you see me? I am back here. My name is Ashley and we're gonna be unboxing some Xtool P2 accessories. In a previous video, I went and unboxed this Xtool P2 laser with you and I discussed all the great benefits of this laser just the way it stands. Today, we're going to unbox all of these accessories that you can get with a P2 and I'm gonna explain what all amazingness this has to offer. That being said, I also have a Glowforge Plus, and I can tell you right now that the Xtool P2, just with no added accessories, is hands down way better than the Glowforge, but I'm gonna show you and explain to you why adding all of these other accessories is going to make your P2 investment hands down way better than the Glowforge. Okay, the very first thing we're gonna talk about, you're not gonna be able to see the box. The box is right here, and this right here is a smoke purifier. So any laser cutter, doesn't matter what laser cutter you use, you have to vent out of a window. And oftentimes you're gonna be left with something that is like a silver looking and it's not very cute. Or you're like me, and if I'm using my laser, I just take my hose, open my window, shove it out there, and close the window to hold my tube in place. Now, I'm in South Carolina right now, and it's winter time. It's cold. This morning I was up here, it was 30 degrees outside. It was a little chilly. So then I'm taking towels, and I'm balling it up, and I'm putting it into the window to stop the draft to keep my craft room warm. But that's not cute. Hello, this is not cute. So I do not want to have to keep fumbling around with my towels. I do not want to have a gaping hole, and I definitely don't want a silver duct thing in my window because that's not cute. So I went ahead and got the smoke air purifier. What this does is it eliminates the window. So if you have a craft room that doesn't have a window, like you're in a basement or in like a large walk-in closet and you don't have a window for your laser, this is your next best option. So essentially when we set it up, this tube is gonna hook onto the top of this box, and then we're just gonna be able to filter the air in our craft room. So we're not gonna have a window to vent out to. So the Glowforge also has an air purifier. I just got it because I don't want to put that hose in my window. Not cute, especially in the winter time because it is cold. Okay, so let's talk about the other accessories that I got. The very first one are these two boxes. Now, I don't know why I have two boxes. And I haven't opened it up, so I have no idea. Do I need two boxes? I'm not entirely sure. But these right here are the conveyor rails, an automatic conveyor rail. What that does is, and you would need the riser base. I think I'm going out of order. Pause. Let's not talk about the conveyor belts. Let's talk about the riser base. We'll go to the riser base first. So what the riser base does, this is your Xtool, right? There is only so far of thickness you are allowed to engrave on if you have a standalone machine just like this. If you are wanting to, hold on one second. For example, if you're wanting to engrave a cake plate, in a previous video I showed you that we can engrave on ceramics with our Xtools. If I were to open this up just as a standalone and put this in there, it is way too tall for my machine. So the cool thing about the Xtool is they have this riser base. What that does is raise your Xtool up. And so I will be able to put this in my machine and engrave it. Now, you cannot do that with the Glowforge. There is not an accessory that you can buy with the Glowforge. This right here is going to give me the ability to do tall things like this that the Glowforge would never be able to do. That being said, so we're gonna go into the next thing. Having the riser base will then give you the ability to use this. This is the RA2 Pro. What this is a rotary attachment. Let's take this tumbler for instance. So I'm gonna put this tumbler inside the Xtool just the way it sits. It will not fit. It is way too tall for it just the way it sits. But you get the riser base, and then I feel like an infomercial, but you get the riser base, then you'll be able to get the RA2 Pro. What that does is you have the riser base that lifts you up, so now you have the ability to engrave something that's a little bit taller. Then you get the RA2 Pro, which is the rotary attachment. What that does is it sticks into your cup like this and turns your cup and engraves the entire thing. It's not just for tumblers. We could do golf balls, not tennis balls, softballs, baseballs, Christmas ornaments, like glass Christmas ornaments, anything that you think that is round, this thing right here is going to be able to do that. So realistically, what we're talking about that is like the main accessory that you're going to want to grab is the riser base, because the riser base is what's going to be able to give you everything else that comes along with the P2. Okay, the next thing, which is what I started off with and then changed my mind about what direction we were going into. So the Xtool conveyor rails. These are automatic conveyor rails. So the way that the machine sits, brand new, straight out of the box with 0 added accessories. What it can cut is something that's larger than this. This is a Glowforge proof grade material. This is a 12 by 20, and we all know from my unboxing video that you can cut way larger in the Xtool than you can with the Glowforge. However, and this is kind of where this riser base comes into play. So there are 2 models with the Glowforge, the Glowforge Plus and the Glowforge Pro. The Pro, you're able to have like a pass-through thing, so you can cut long pieces of wood or engrave long pieces of items. The way that this sits, it can't do that, which would be the Glowforge Plus. However, if you get the riser base, now you can engrave really long things. Now, the beauty of these conveyor rails is that you're going to be able to set a piece of wood or whatever material onto the conveyor rails, and you're just going to be able to set the machine, and the conveyor rails are going to do the cut or the engrave automatically. So you don't have to sit there and hold your piece of wood or your material as it's cutting or engraving. It's going to automatically feed your material. Okay, this is all the accessories that I have with my P2. There is one additional accessory that the P2 has, and that is a honeycomb tray. I just chose not to get that because I actually really like the slats. I really like the way the slats lay in here and really make my cuts on all of my acrylic and wood just perfect. I've not had any issues, but there's just one additional accessory, and that is the honeycomb tray, and I did choose to forego getting that one. All right, so the very first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna holler at my husband, and I'm gonna have him help me with this riser base. I feel like there's gonna be some assembly with it, because I don't know. I have no idea, but I'm gonna holler at my husband. He's gonna help me put that riser base onto my Xtool. Okay, we have the P2 installed in the riser base. Man, was the P2 riser base a lot of work to put together. Thankfully, I had my husband do all the work, so all I had to do was monitor him. You will notice that my P2 is now on a completely different table. I got this at Home Depot. I'll link the one that I got in the description of this video because I actually think that this table was meant for the P2. I mean, maybe that might be a coincidence, I don't know, but like this is the perfect size, width, and length. You got a couple inches on either end, perfect width. This thing, we'll get into that in a second, but let's talk about the table that I did have it on. So the all white table that I did have my P2 on, I'm pretty certain that the weight limit for that was like 25 pounds, and the P2 in itself is way more than 25 pounds. Then after my husband got done assembling the riser base, he looked at me and he was like, there's no way that we're gonna be able to put both of these things on top of that table without the table crumbling, which I was definitely afraid of. I was looking at those legs, and the legs seemed like they were bowing. Like it just seemed like we were at a recipe for disaster. The other reason why I needed to get a new table is the caster legs that are on that table, my crafting tables, and I have 4 of them. I really love those tables. But the caster wheels are like yay big and definitely not supposed to be rolling something that is 100 pounds. So we went to Home Depot. We got this thing. Again, it'll be linked in the description of this video. I honestly think that it was made for the P2. Perfect width. It is 25 inches depth, and the machine's 24 inches. There is a couple inches on either end. So it's a little bit longer than the actual P2, which is fine because then you could just put like random things, like I got my conveyor belt rail right here. The other thing I like about this is the caster wheels. They are gigantic. They are meant to be rolled around my craft room. They are huge. They are going to hold all the weight of my machine as I roll it around, which I don't generally want to roll my laser machines around. I mean, I have a lot of lasers and they're all stationary. However, this one, because I got the conveyor belt, that automatic feeder, I'm going to be able to click this onto my machine, and then I'm going to be able to automatically feed really long pieces of materials. Well, it can't sit next to the wall, so I'm going to need to be able to pull this out of the wall so I can feed my material front and back. So I like the fact that this whole desk workbench setup will allow me to move my desk over in an area where I'm going to be able to feed large materials. I'm going to get into that in a different video, more, just centered focus only on large laser cuts. The other thing about this table that I actually like, I was like, oh, I really like that, was that there's this crank right here. This crank allows for the table to move up and down. So it can go up if I wanted to, or it can drop a little bit lower. So if I wanted to like connect two tables together to do the automatic feeder, I definitely can. I can take my all white crafting table, drag it over to here, put it next to my desk, and then just crank and lower this or raise this up to whatever height I need. So I definitely love that. Okay, so I just wanted to show you what the inside of this machine looks like now, because it's definitely a lot taller. But what you do is you just push this riser base and it opens up. So then if you're using taller materials, like for instance, this cake pan, remember, this cake stand would not fit in here, right? Originally, it would not fit in here to engrave. So then what you would do is you would pull this out. This is like your little tray thing that comes with your machine. Then you would take all your slats out. So I have all of my slats taken out of my Xtool. Now here's the deal, and I really like this about the riser base, is, let me move this, is over here on the side, it opens up and you can put your slats over here and then close this up. So that is like a housing area for your slats, so they're not laying around and they don't get lost. Okay, now here's the deal. Here is the cake stand. If it was taller than that, see how much more room we have? We have a ton of room. So I could probably even do like a basketball. Okay, so I just inserted my tray into one of the slots that are on the sides right here. This is what the riser base is for. There's slots on the side. So I just put my base inside one of those slots. And now with this, I'm going to be able to put this in my machine, and my machine is going to be able to engrave it, which is something I'm so excited about. So remember, same thing, like here is the rotary attachment. I haven't set this up yet, but here's the rotary attachment. You're going to be able to now do tumblers. Just putting this just in like that. Now this tumbler is going to be too tall for the machine. So all I need to do is take my base out, drop it down, one, put this in, and there we go. And now this is going to be a perfect height, so I'm going to be able to laser engrave all of my tumblers. That is like the coolest thing. All right, well, do you want to see me laser engrave this cake stand? I want to see, like, this is like a pretty tall, will it work? Let's try it out. Okay, so I put my cake pan into the Xtool. I have it all set up with the tray like that. Now let's turn on the Xtool and let's go to the computer and see if we can figure out how to do a really large cake pan. All right, well, I turned on the Xtool. I came here, opened up my Xtool program, and look, I already have my cake plate. It's right there. Okay, so I know we need to go into slats flat, and let's go to open plane. Ensure my slats are removed. They definitely are. I'm going to do this auto focus feature, and let's just put our little aimbot right on top of our plate. Okay. Okay, so I just found some random chocolate cake recipe on Pinterest and I just copied and pasted it into the Xtool design program. Okay, I like the look of this font. I'm just gonna leave it the way it is. I'm just gonna press engrave. Okay, the settings I'm gonna use for this is 100 power and 150 speed. It's the same settings that I used for the plate that I engraved with like a handwritten recipe. I'm assuming that these are gonna be the same exact settings that I'm going to need, and I'm just gonna press process. Ooh, and now that I'm doing this, let me go turn on that air assist fan, that huge, hold on, let's go back. Hold on here. I'm gonna turn on this air assist fan. So I'm gonna go over here into these settings. So this right here, I'm gonna go down here into settings and I'm gonna turn off the exhaust fan because I have the external exhaust fan. Okay, then all I'm gonna do is just exit out of that. And we're gonna go here into process and then press start. Is this going to work? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. Okay, here is what our final cake plate looks like. Isn't this so stinking gorgeous? You'll have to watch my previous video where I show you how in the world to get your engravings to look this amazing after it's done being engraved. But man, oh man, did this turn out so stinking cute. And the engraving looks absolutely amazing. So to note, this cake plate is about 5-6 inches tall. So you definitely will need the riser base if you wanted to engrave something like this, and totally could not be able to do something like this in the Glowforge. All right, y'all, I sure hope I inspired you to create, and I'll see you later.